the Patriots Drive Podcast.
We are all Patriots.
Where we discuss, analyze, and answer questions to all things happening in the NFL and with our New England Patriots. Now, here's your host, Cole Kelly.
Let's go!
Welcome back to another edition of the Patriots Drive Podcast. Got Jace here with me. Got a very special guest, Carlos. It's been a minute, but Patriots Training Camp's back. Preseason game number 2 is on Saturday against the Vikings. We've had back-to-back days with joint practices with them. We had the Commanders last week. So we got a decent amount of work so far to go over and talk about some of the different things that we've noticed, some standout players, some guys who maybe have struggled, and just kind of overall thoughts on getting ready for the season. But Carlos, it's been a minute. How you doing?
Pretty good. You know, it's been a minute for me too. I haven't spoken in front of a camera in a while. I did a I guess you could call it X Spaces before the preseason game. That was pretty fun. But you know, podcasting, talking with the bros. You know, we've talked many times about Patriots football. We've been right, we've been wrong. We've had some debates, but I'm ready to get back into it.
Heck yeah, it's getting closer and closer. We've already had one game. We're going to have another one on Saturday. And so I thought it was a good time, like you said, to hop on and just talk some football. You know, whether it's what happened 2 weeks ago at the start of camp, whether it's preseason game 1, 100 yards to the house for Travion Henderson, first play that Patriots fans get to see of the new regime and the new era. Pretty exciting. And then, to the bad news that we heard today about not doing very well in joint practices. So there's a lot to talk about, and it's going to be a fun hour and a half show because Patriots football's back. It's closer than ever, and I couldn't be more excited. This is one of the most exciting seasons I can remember as a Patriots fan.
Well, your memory must not be very long because we had some very good years before here, but it has been a little bit since we were.
But I wasn't excited for them. I just knew we were going to dominate. I was just like, yeah, that's easy.
I guess that's fair. I guess that is fair. I will say after that Travion Henderson play, I was like, we're so back. I was immediately back in. I was ready to go. So I am very excited for this year. There's definitely a lot to look forward to. And hopefully some of these joint practices, they start to get these things figured out and back on the right track. But I definitely have high hopes and am hoping that we're watching competitive football late into the year and hopefully fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah, sure.
Let's start with the preseason game because that's kind of the furthest away. We'll get into joint practices. Obviously, Travion Henderson was one guy that jumped off the screen in his limited amount of snaps. But Carlos, who's another guy that kind of jumped off the screen and is maybe potentially pushing for a 53-man roster spot, or maybe he, has solidified himself a 53-man roster spot because there was a lot of really good performances and they've been going on throughout joint practices, not only with the Vikings, but with the Commanders and all this stuff. So who's another guy other than Travion Henderson that you kind of, were excited to watch?
I feel like MA football guy, you probably saw him. DJ James get that interception early on in the game. I think that was honestly, in my opinion, like the solidifying play for him making the roster. He's already been making a push for it. He's had a great training camp. Honestly, coming out of nowhere after spending the I think most of the season last year on the practice squad, but he's really come on as of late. Like I said, he had that interception during the preseason game. Got a lot more Patriots fans' eyes on him rather than just the ones that see training camp in person or just read about it later on. He put his name out there. So I think I would say him. And if I had to pick one more, I would say Truman Jones. I have like some sort of weird obsession with him. I just think that he's going to become a really good pass rusher. He did really good in the run game as well. Out of Harvard, I'm pretty sure he also spent the year on the practice squad last season. So those two guys, I mean, they seem to have developed under the Gerard Mayo regime, and now they're getting, most would say, better coaching. So they're really coming on as of late, and I think that they can both be on the 53-man roster.
Yeah, so you gave a couple ups. I'm going to give a down here, which is maybe a little surprising for some people. Kyle Duggar, he has not been repping much with the first team. He just hasn't been out there as much as expected with the starting group. I don't know if it's a trade situation where he's going to end up getting moved. Vrabel kind of spoke on it and basically kind of used coach speak to say he's not doing his job well enough. That's pretty much what I got from that. He maybe not being in the right places at the right time, or I'm not sure what it is, but it's kind of crazy the fall off we've seen from Duggar over the past few years, because at one point he was looking like he was going to be a real impact player. Then he had some injury stuff going on last year, was kind of fighting through it, wasn't the same guy, and then just hasn't even really been in consideration, it seems like, for the starting job in this defense. So that was one thing has been a little surprising over the course of camp, and it's something to keep an eye on, whether it is a trade or I don't know what role they're going to envision for him, but it's odd to see him go from an impact guy to potentially not on this team by the start of the season.
Well, or a position change, right? Because they got talking today about Kyle Duggar potentially being a linebacker, in which Jelani Tavai and kind of some of the injury stuff that he's going through, he could potentially be a guy that slides into a 4th or a 5th linebacker spot on this team. Obviously with Spillane, who else will you have there? In the middle, you'll have Christian Ellis. And so, he could slide into one of those spots because he's always struggled in coverage. Like, that's never been his weak spot, whether it's on receivers or tight ends. It's not been, his coat or his biggest strength. So maybe he does transition to a linebacker, because I do still think Kyle Duggar adds value to this team. He's probably very specific in what you do, but if you can be creative with him, you can. So I'd be interested to see what Kyle Duggar could do as a linebacker. Maybe they start repping him there, whether it's in a preseason game or the last couple practices that they have, and see what they got there and stuff. But yeah, this was a guy 2 offseasons ago that we're like, you got to find a way to wrap him up and get him on a contract. And it was him and Michael Owenu. And, it's kind of like, is he actually in, a spot to get cut? It's kind of crazy to talk about that. And so going to be a little bit interesting there. But I wanted to go back to DJ James, Carlos, because I remember scouting DJ James out of Auburn, and I was like, this guy's really good. He goes in the 6th round to Seattle. He got cut by them in August of last year and then signed to the practice squad. And ever since then, he's been kind of on an upwards climb. And I think that him as the 4th corner, potentially behind obviously Carlton Davis, Christian Gonzalez, and Alex Austin. And then you still have Marcus Jones in the slot. But I think DJ James rounds out a really solid cornerback room and adds way more depth to that than what we've seen in the past of the defensive secondary. And the secondary's gotten banged up the last couple of years too. And so to have another guy like him in there, I really like it. And that's probably already one of the strong suits of this team, with this addition of Carlton Davis plus the emergence of Christian Gonzalez. But yeah, DJ James is a guy that just keeps showing up, keeps making plays. And you're like, they're going to have a lot of unique things to do, because they could legitimately field 4 corners on the field at a time. A couple years ago, it was like, oh, they have 4 safeties they could put on the field. Now it's flipped. It's like 4 or 5 corners is what you want on the field, and maybe like a Jabril Peppers or someone there and stuff. So it's going to be interesting. But I did think DJ James was another guy, like you mentioned, that stood out. So I'm glad you mentioned him. Did you have anyone else? I had one too. Cole, do you have one, Carlos?
Really quick, just to add on to the honestly, it all comes together, because I'm not going to say I disagree with you about like, oh, there's going to be more corners on the field, but they have been playing, a lot of their base coverage has been with 3 safeties on the field and only 2 corners. And the starting 3 corners have been Craig Woodson, Jabril Peppers, and Jalen Hawkins. Yep. And like going back to like the Kyle Duggar thing, he's been completely knocked out of that starting 3. And then today, even with Jabril Peppers being limited, Del Pettis played over him in that first team defensive base package. So like, honestly, that's good news for Del Pettis, because that means that he's most likely going to make the roster as well. There were some questions about him, but yeah, it's kind of crazy how Kyle Duggar's just completely out of that starting 3. And and also adding on to what you guys had said about the possibility of him moving to linebacker, not to say that it can't happen, but when Taylor Kyles asked the question to Mike Vrabel, it was very much like in passing, that he was just like, whatever we can do to help a player earn a role on this team, we'll do. And you can tell he was kind of like shunning the question away. Kind of, I don't know. It didn't seem too much as like, yeah, we're for sure going to try it. We want him to succeed in a different position. Like I said, it could happen. I don't really see it happening. And I do think that even if he did switch to linebacker, they have guys that they would prefer over him. With Robert Spillane, Christian Ellis, Jack Gibbons. Apparently he loves Jack Gibbons. If you guys watched Bussin' with the Boys, they talk about how much Vrabel loves Jack Gibbons. So there's going to be guys starting over him there as well. So Kyle Duggar's future on this team is really murky. He might just be a bench guy, because if they don't want to eat the dead cap or trading him or cutting him, whatever. But yeah, he's the one that's really had a crazy fall off during training camp.
How do you think this gets resolved, like, do you think it is a situation where they end up trading him, or do you think they cut him, or what do you think ends up happening by the end of the training camp?
He has a $23.5 million dead cap. It's 23.25 to be exact and stuff. And obviously the Patriots have plenty of cap space. And I'd have to go look at like Washington's needs and stuff. But like if the Terry McLaurin things really is, something there, is that something that you ship off Kyle Duggar in a third or Kyle Duggar in a second or whatever for Terry McLaurin, and then you can use the money to sign McLaurin? I don't know how it ends up going. I want to know what the return would be, because a couple years ago, if you didn't re-sign Kyle Duggar, you probably would have got a pretty good comp pick for him, right? Probably something in the third round.
Yeah, late end of the third.
And so I don't think you're going to get much right there. And so it will be interesting to see what his actual value goes for, who's looking for a safety body right there. But I don't know. I guess I'm still on the train that he can help this team. He's one of the better players when he's playing well, but I also have understood that he hasn't been playing like to his ability the last couple of seasons, for sure, with the injuries. And then even this training camp and stuff. So I don't know. I would say if I'm putting the odds on it, like how it's going to end up, I think I'm leaning. And I just did a 53-man roster prediction on the Patriots or on our Instagram, me and Cole, and I had him making the roster. But I think that was because I was optimistic, hoping that he was going to push for a spot and make it. I think if I had to put it there, I'd put it at 60-40. He doesn't make this roster, whether it's a trade, whether it's a cut, whatever it is. I think I'm a little bit over that. He's probably leaning towards not being with the team come week 1 when they have to make their roster cuts.
Yeah, if I had to make my own prediction, I would honestly put him staying on the team as like the first option. Second option would be a cut, and then third would be trading. Like these are just by the possibility rankings, I guess you could say it like that. I just think that his dead cap's too big for them to eat if they really, really don't want him on the team that bad. That's why I'm like, he might just be an expensive backup, in all honesty. Yeah. Cutting him makes more sense than trading him, because I don't think a team would really want to take on his contract.
It's not a good contract.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's like the second highest paid player on the Patriots, right? Like he has a pretty big contract. I think it's him. I think it's Michael Onwenu and then him. So like,
That's sad.
I don't really see him getting traded. I can see him staying on the team, being an expensive backup, or getting cut. Those are like the two biggest possibilities for me. If he gets traded, obviously that's a great thing, because that means you at least get something in return. But I don't really see it ending in a happy way, if you want to put it like that.
Yeah. He real quick, he has the second highest cap number on the team right now at 15.2 million. Owenu's 21, and then Barmore's slightly under him at 14. But yeah, he has the second highest cap number on the Patriots.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's tough. That's tough. He basically got paid and hasn't been the same guy since then. I mean, It seems. I know, like I said, there's injuries last year, but I think there's a lot of different interesting position battles where you had some guys that maybe you expected to be more in the mix. Another guy, just looking at some notes from Carlos, he does a great job compiling these camp practices. Kendrick Bourne absent again. He's been a guy who's missed some time here, and with all the receivers in the room and the competitions going on there, that's not a great sign for KB. I know he's a vet, and they probably know what they're going to get from him. So maybe he needs to be on the field less than like a Jalen Polk maybe would, or Baker. But that's not a great sign. And just there's been other guys where Kayshon Bouttie's been showing out. Efton Chisholm's been showing out. So Stephon Diggs has been pretty solid as well. He's been getting a lot of targets. So it's a true competition there in that room, seeing how many guys are going to end up keeping. Javon Baker has been contributing on special teams. There's just everybody's trying to make a difference and make this team somehow. But overall, I guess, how do you guys think this wide receiver room ends up shaking out?
Well, I was going to give another shout out, obviously, and I think it's one we're eventually going to get to. I was going to give a shout out to Efton Chisholm. I think that we've seen him in camp. You've seen him ball out in joint practices. You saw him have a really good game. In my 53-man roster prediction I just did, I had them keeping 7 receivers. They kept 7 last year, and I think that there's way better competition in the roster this year. So I had Diggs, Douglas, Mac Hollins, Kayshon Boutte, Cal Williams, Chisholm, and Baker. And you look at that, and I love Kendrick Bourne. Like, Kendrick Bourne's a leader. He wants to be here. He had his best season when he was under Josh McDaniels, but the contract, the age coming off the injury just doesn't fit with this team. And personally, I'd rather buy reps into Demario Douglas and mentioned Efton Chisholm at the slot position. And so I don't think that he has a guy or he has a role on this team right now. Now, if he's on it, I'm going to love it because I love his personality. I love his character. Like, I don't want him to be cut because he's like a horrible player and he's a bad locker room guy. Like, you love everything about Kendrick Bourne. I'm looking at the guys that have been playing well every day. It seems like there's someone new making a big time play with Drake May, Kayshon Boutte, like you said, Chisholm, Baker. Yeah, maybe he might not have a wide receiver role, but he had this hella big praise from Mike Vrabel about being a special teams guy, whether it's gunner or returner. And so he might have a chance to make the roster too. The other thing I think is a little bit underrated is I really think Lan Larison had a really good chance of making this roster, but maybe that opens up another special team spot right there, which is why I had Baker making the thing. Is like he was going to eat up a ton of special teams reps, probably not too many running back reps he would have gotten in, but now it's like you got to find another special teams guy that can do a lot. And Javon Baker so far sounds like one that could step into that role. So yeah, I do have Kendrick Bourne getting cut right now. Just haven't seen enough from him. And there's too many young guys that I would rather bank the reps into right now and see what they can grow into with Drake May.
Yeah, I do think that Chisholm should make the roster. If you cut him, he's not making it back to the practice squad. Like, I can guarantee that.
No shot.
So it sucks with Bourne because Bourne is legitimately like in
Such a good dude.
In half a decade filled with so many bad seasons from the Patriots, he was by far like one of my favorite players. Even if he didn't perform that much on the field, at least he was someone to root for, in my opinion. But with that being said, this receiver room is really shaping out without him now that especially after he got injured. So I really think that he's like the prime trade candidate, and I could totally see him going back to the Niners because their receiver room is completely dismantled by injuries. That honestly, if I had to make one prediction that it's like I'm putting all my chips on the table for this, it's that he gets traded to the Niners. We'll see if that happens, but I truly think that's going to happen. In terms of like the receiver room as a whole, though, I do think that they're going to carry. I mean, my last roster prediction had 7 wide receivers because I had Javon Baker being the 7th, but as a special teams guy, because he was the primary gunner opposite of Brendan Schooler during the preseason game. That was Marcellus Dial's role all last season, and then obviously going into this season as well before he tore his ACL, and now he's out. So Javon Baker has been the only wide receiver taking special team snaps in turn, not like returning, but like actually with the special teams unit, and he's carving out a role for himself there. And if he can make it onto the team as a special teams guy, but you also have him developing as a wide receiver, like I think that's a great way to use one of those roster spots rather than just like, let's just get someone designated only for those special team snaps. Because realistically, like Marcellus Dial was, I'm pretty sure he was the primary backup to Marcus Jones at slot corner. So yes, he would have been able to develop, but I feel like as a wide receiver, it's kind of more important to get those reps and be like on the 53-man roster. So long story short, I love the idea of Javon Baker being the 7th wide receiver, but as a special teams guy, and then keeping Chisholm as well. Jalen Polk, I don't know what's going on with him. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to IR, but if that was the case, I think he would have already gone to IR. So that's why I'm kind of like, I feel like if the injury was that bad that he had to go on IR, it would have happened already. That guy's, I think he's just gone. I don't know. Phantom
IL. I don't know. It's like, I agree with your take though. Like Baker, if he's going to be contributing to this team, he has to do it on special teams at least to warrant him getting a spot, because there's a bunch of other guys. We haven't even touched on Matt Collins or Kyle Williams. Like there's many players on this team fighting for these spots at receiver. Hollins, I guess, didn't like the energy at practice yesterday, so he's after he scored, he punted the ball into the stands to try to get some energy going. He's a unique fella, but I just think overall a vet like him, he's made some big plays in some big games. He's going to be on this team and hopefully contributing. And Kyle Williams, like he hasn't jumped out on the stat sheet, but Vrabel talked about it recently as well, where he was like, he hasn't gotten the ball a lot, but he's been open. He's been doing the right things. I think this kid's doing a good job. And that really stands out. Like there's only so many passes in each practice. And if you're trying to build chemistry with Diggs and stuff like that, like you got to spread the ball around a little bit, but if Diggs is open and Kyle Williams is open and his first read is Diggs, it's going to him, or Demario Douglas, or you know what I mean? So just because he's not getting the ball and you're not seeing it on the stat sheet necessarily doesn't mean that he's not creating separation and still doing a good job. So that would be big if he's contributing and doing well, separating. That would be awesome if we could.
Vrabel brought him up unprompted too.
Yeah,
he brought him up in a Stephon Diggs question about him not getting the ball enough, and then he brought up Kyle Williams, like the fact that he's getting open, he's just not getting the ball, but that's fine. Like he's doing what he has to do.
Yep. Kyle Williams was probably 2 bad throws away from putting up like a 60 yards for one touchdown. Like that deep ball that was underthrown by Dobbs, and then he had the touchdown where he just cooked the dude on the slant that was that was behind him. Like those two balls. Yeah, but like you just say he catches the touchdown or it's a good throw there, and one of those deep balls, he has a day just as good as Efton Chisholm in way less snaps too. And so the receiver one's hard for me. I feel like Jalen Polk has gotten the short end of the stick because I just think he was in a bad spot last year, but he also hasn't done anything to like prove it. Like, I'm not saying he is like getting screwed, but like I have a hard time cutting him and Javon Baker after what they went through last year. So if they keep Baker and then put Polk on IR, and then who was it? Zach said that he thinks Polk will go on IR in case one day they need him back mid-season. I'm fine with that. I think this coaching staff can have way more success with guys like this than what the old staff did. Now, I don't think Polk makes the original 53-man roster. I think he ends up on P squad or IR. I don't know if anyone would pick him up if he does get cut. I don't know. You think someone would?
Yeah, he's a second-round pick. I guarantee he would.
I don't.
Dude, if Tyquan Thornton got picked up, I think Jalen Polk can do it.
But Tyquan Thornton at least
probably like a men's league team or something would pick him up. Like
some college team
with
would
Michael
come back. Yeah, they could. And on the Mac Hollins situation for me is like I have a hard time wanting to cut him because he's the biggest body in the room. Like at the worst, he's a red zone threat that can give you something, whether it's jump balls, contested catch ability, being able to box out. Plus, he's a bigger body in the run game to help block. And so, as disappointing as his fall or as his camp may have been, it doesn't seem like it's something that you can really cut ties with just based off of the size of the room and what the room looks like right now when you're keeping a Demario Douglas and an Efton Chisholm. And then you have Kyle Williams, who's got good length, but he's pretty skinny. Same with Stephon Diggs. He's a good route runner. So it seems like there is kind of a need for a Mac Hollins in that receiver room. But who was it? It was someone up here. I wanted to click on it. MA football guy. Like, the receiver room is not elite right now, but it's a good problem to have. Like, there's a lot of guys competing, and I'm not afraid to keep 7 receivers. I'm really not. Like, I have Javon Baker in there because I think he adds special teams value. I have the other guys in there because I think that without that true number 1 receiver, which I think it will obviously be Stephon Diggs, but he's not like the number 1 he used to be when he was in Buffalo. You probably need a good rotation of 6 solid guys there. And I would feel really confident with Diggs, Douglas, Booty, Williams, Chisholm, and then Hollins on the outside. And then hopefully Baker can develop while he's getting special teams reps. So I don't think any Patriots fan should be scared of keeping 7 wide receivers. I think that that's kind of going to be the reality of it right now. That's how it's going to fall.
Yeah, and honestly, going off of what Zach Ventola said, I didn't think about the possibility of Polk going on IR on cutdown day, like after they finalize the 53-man roster. Someone that comes to mind is like Truman Jones, Elijah Ponder, like one of these edge rushers that most likely won't get picked up by another team if they were to get cut, and then Polk makes it over them, then Polk goes on IR, and then they bring them back onto the 53-man roster. That happens a lot. That would always happen with Brian Hoyer every single year. Yeah. So it's just like one of those things that I could see them manipulating the way they finalize the roster in order to keep certain guys there, like a Polk, like maybe a Chisholm. It'll be interesting. This is like it is a very good problem to have. Probably the best wide receiver problem we've had in a long time. And I don't know if that's wording it correctly, but I just honestly think that no matter who's on the roster, I do think that their top 4 are going to be formidable and they can make a difference.
I agree with you about the room being in a better spot than it's been recently. Like, for sure. It definitely has. I still don't feel great about it. Like, I still have my concerns. If everything goes well, it could be a really good competitive group where you're in the top half of receiver rooms in the league. If a lot of things don't go well, though, it could very much end up being a bottom 5, bottom 10 group in the NFL as well. You know what I mean? Like Diggs is coming off a big injury. He's in his 30s. Like he's getting up there in age. We don't know what Kyle Williams is. Matt Collins, we kind of know what he is going to be. Kayshon Boutte showed some flashes last year. I think this group has some good upside, but I also still have plenty of concerns about it in general, just overall. Like, I would feel really good if Stephon Diggs was 27-year-old Stephon Diggs. I'd be jumping up and down doing backflips. Like, that'd be great. But I just think a lot is going to be Diggs is going to be relied on a lot, because if he's great, it just affects everybody else in the room. If he struggles and he looks like a 31-year-old coming off a torn knee, like, that's going to affect the room as well. And if he's not himself, it's going to have a trickle down effect. So I think a lot is going to be on his shoulders this year, and hopefully he's ready to go and up for the task.
Let's move on to, I want to talk about 2 more positions on offense, then we'll get to the defensive side of the ball and talk some joint practice specific stuff today. One thing I want to talk about, how early is Travion Henderson going to be like he's going to have an impact right off the gate, but is he pushing Ramondre for running back 1 right now? Like, is he going to be the running back 1 come week 6 or whatever in this season? And because he's so much more explosive, he makes so much more plays down the field. His pass catching is way better than him. You could probably say his pass blocking is better than him. And so at what point is he the lead back of this offense? I don't think it's week 1, week 2, week 3, but in the past, Ramondre's had fumble issues and he's gotten passed up by a guy like Antonio Gibson. So now you have a guy that's literally like dynamite behind him. When is Travion Henderson going to take over this backfield? Because everything I've seen and stuff, I think he has all the ability to be one of those top 8 guys in the NFL. And that's, because of how he can do everything, not just run the ball.
Yeah, honestly, I've voiced it a lot, even when they drafted him, and my opinion still hasn't changed, which is, I guess you could say it's surprising, but I don't really think it's going to be like a RB1, RB2, RB3. I think it's just going to be a committee thing, just going off of what Josh McDaniels usually does. You just, like, if you really think about it, who would you say was the RB1 when it was like LeGarrette Blount and James White and I know I'm missing some, like Brandon Bolden.
The year he had like 300 touchdowns, I would say LeGarrette Blount.
Well,
no, but honestly,
and the interesting thing about that, just to hit on that, is I feel like it's Josh McDaniels likes to have 3 different type of backs.
He doesn't have a featured back, really.
He doesn't have a featured back, but he has 3 different guys. Now, Ramondre, I don't think is that good of a pass catcher. Travion, I think, can do all of it really well.
70-yard wheel route touchdowns. Yeah.
And then Antonio Gibson's going to fit in that pass catching role. So, I mean, I totally get what you're saying, Carlos. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I think he has a guy. He's going to use all these guys in his own situations, and they're all going to be used equally. I just think that, like, you look at, hey, Travion Henderson is such a balanced back. Like, he's one of the few guys that you can look at in the NFL at the running back position and say he can confidently do all 3 aspects: pass block, run the ball, and catch the ball at an elite level someday in the NFL, I think.
Yeah, honestly, though, I would say the only downside about Travion is just his injury history. Like, he was an amazing back at Ohio State, but he struggled with injuries when he was the bell cow. And as soon as Quinshon Judkins came into the picture, all of a sudden he was back to where he was. He was healthy and making his big plays again. So it's just one of those things that I think that Ramondre is going to be the early down back. He's going to be in between the tackles. Travion's going to be outside the tackles, in there for passing downs. Just like sprinkling him in whenever they really need a big play, or if they just want the opportunity for a big play. And I think Ramondre, I honestly think we're going to see Ramondre a lot more than what people assume, because I feel like people just view it as like, oh, you have a good running back, run the hell out of the ball with just them only. Like, that's not Josh McDaniels. That's never been Josh McDaniels. And that's honestly not Travion Henderson's like build as a running back. So I just think that it's going to be a lot more of a mix. And at the same time, it's like, you look at the Lions, like Jahmyr Gibbs splits a lot of reps with David Montgomery, but Jahmyr Gibbs is clearly the better running back, and he has a lot bigger plays, and he's like much more of like a national media darling. But David Montgomery's still a factor. He's just not, he doesn't have like that little it factor, I guess you could say. And I think that's going to be Ramondre. Like, he's still going to factor in. He's still going to play a lot. They might split drives. Like, you never know. I just think he's going to factor in a lot more than what people think.
Yeah, That was basically exactly what I was going to say. Was comparing it to them, just like. And the thing about that room as well as this room, Ramondre, in a similar way to Travion Henderson, has had his injury history. And
Yeah.
when he doesn't have to carry the ball every time and he gets some rest and he gets some breaks, he's at his best. So you could see by the end of the year, with them splitting touches, you could see them both having a better year than they would have if it was just one of them versus the other. You know what I mean? Where, oh, actually, Ramondre only played 8 games because he got hurt, or he was just worn down. He wasn't himself. He didn't look great, so he didn't have as many yards. Like, I really think that splitting the offense like it is with Jahmyr Gibbs, as frustrating as it is for us fantasy owners with Gibbs, I do think that could end up being the best situation for everybody in the room, where they're both healthy, they're both fresh, and you're getting the most production out of each guy.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think we're talking about Antonio Gibson enough too. Like,
yeah.
Like, how many times did Rex Burke had come into the game and he scored a random goal line touchdown? I think that could be Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, I agree. He's still a solid back. Like, Gibson's not a scrub.
Yeah.
He's going to be like him and Travion Henderson. And the other thing I like about this is like you can do some 2-back stuff with some of these guys.
Yeah.
You can put Travion Henderson and Gibson in the backfield. Yeah. Like you can do it consistently on third downs. Like you can put both of them in and keep Travion in the block or do both stuff. You could put them in empty. Like Travion Henderson out on air is nasty. Like on the linebacker in man coverage, it's nasty. You do not want that matchup as a defense. And so you can get real creative. And I think Edward's saying it right here. I'm glad you pulled this comment up, Cole, is that everyone was so like, do we want McDaniels back? Blah, blah, blah. You know, like he is one of the most creative offensive minds in the NFL. He might not be the most creative. And yeah, his screen passes and draws or whatever can get repetitive, but he's going to put these dudes in places that are going to get them opportunities to have mismatches on the outside.
Yeah.
He was so good at doing that before he was here. And I think now he even has more dynamic running backs. Like Travion Henderson and Antonio Gibson are going to be really good for him in the backfield, whatever he does with him. And then, yeah, like you said, Ramondre Stevenson. So the last position I want to talk about on offensive line, right? We've had up and down reports. Will Campbell's been playing good, struggled today. Jared Wilson's been playing really good, left practice today. There's been other guys, Garrett Bradbury, who was a signing as a veteran, hasn't been playing very good there. Morgan Moses has had his ups and downs with injuries and stuff like that. So, Carlos, what's kind of your whole thought on the offensive line situation? Maybe who's one guy that you have been liking what you've been hearing from or seeing, clips and stuff from, and then where do you think this offensive line is at right now?
How much longer till Will Campbell gets cut?
You mean moved into guard, like every other Patriots fan said?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not today, especially at joint practice. I'm not sitting here overreacting to one joint practice. I don't want people to think that. It's just one of those things that, like, yes, they had a great game against the Commanders in the preseason against their backups, but today going up against starters in a joint practice, and it's like these are formidable pass rushers, like Jonathan Grenard and Dallas Turner. Like those are legit pass rushers. It's not like, no offense to him, love the guy. It's not Dietrich Wise. You know what I mean? Like when they had joint practice last week, like it's not Dietrich Wise going up against Will Campbell, and it's like he's locking him down. Like now it's guys that have produced in this league at a very, very high level, and you're seeing the cracks in the offensive line. And I know Jared Wilson, he was limited today, so they had Ben Brown in there, and it was just honestly a disaster on the left side of the line. There was even, I think, Mike Onwenu gave up a sack as well. Like it was not a great day for the offensive line. But long story short, I do think that they're going to be obvious. They're 1,000%. I can guarantee they're going to be better than they were last year. Yeah. They were dead last in every like statistical metric as like for offensive linemen last season. So they're going to be better than that. I just don't think it's going to be like everything solved all of a sudden and we have a top 10 offensive line. Like I think everyone knows that, but today kind of proved it. Like there's a lot of work to be done there. Hopefully Jared Wilson, it's nothing serious and he just comes right back. Actually, I'm wondering if they do play him in the preseason game. That'll be interesting. Like, I don't know what he's dealing with, but I do want to see him and Will Campbell get more reps because Will Campbell, not to single him out, people love to say that it's like it's super easy to hate on him, all this and that. I agree that he does get picked on a lot, but he is the 4th overall pick. So when you see him give up 3 sacks today in a joint practice, that's not something that you want to hear at all. And I don't like that he's getting beat around the edge constantly. And it's just, it's worrisome. Obviously, he's a rookie. He's gonna grow. I'm not like hitting the panic button, but it is something that to keep an eye on. Like it might. I don't want it to become a trend, and then it's just like, oh, don't worry, he'll fix it. He'll fix it. Like it just needs to get nipped in the bud soon.
I know it's not fair to compare draft classes necessarily because you can't compare Tet to Jamar Chase just because they were taken in a similar range. You know what I mean? But as a top 5 pick, I don't think there was these concerns necessarily with Joe Alt this early on, maybe, or some of these other guys. I don't know. You got Max Crosby week 1. You got TJ Watt week 3. You got the Browns and Myles Garrett coming to town, or not that much longer after that. Like, there's not that the Vikings pass rush doesn't have some really good football players on there, but they're not the same level necessarily. Like Max Crosby is a freak. TJ Watt, like Myles Garrett, these guys are absolute freaks. So I just it's not ideal. I'm not hitting the panic button, but it's just odd because internally they love the guy. They're talking about still how great he is, and they're super confident. He's definitely our left tackle. Like that's all the reports you're hearing from internal sources within the team. And then he goes out on the field, and you're just not seeing. You're seeing some flashes of good. You're seeing the tenacity that you like in the preseason game, where he's just getting under dude's skin and he's flexing in their face and he's going crazy in the preseason game against backups. But like, in as a pass blocker, he's just consistently kind of been up and down and got beat by kind of the same stuff. And you don't love to see that. It's where that length comes into concern, and all the things that were talked about and hyped up as being big red flags and concerns and having the shortest wingspan for a tackle. Like it's a real thing, and it's something they need to pay attention to. Hopefully he adjusts. I mean, you got to give him a little bit of time. Like it's not the end of the world. It's just a couple practices, but you want him to adjust sooner rather than later and figure out how to use what he does have for length and really be able to be a great left tackle. Because when that offensive line is in shambles, your offense can't function.
And the thing about Will Campbell that I loved coming out of college is he was a really good pass protector in the SEC, but he's so athletic. His run game, you're going to be able to create stuff with him pulling, his ability to dig guys out and stuff. Like it's going to be really good for him in the run game too. And I do think that Steven hit this kind of on the head. Josh McDaniels is going to know how to game plan with that offensive line. That play where Will Campbell was lead blocking on the toss and stuff, like that's where you're going to put him in good spots. He's going to have to learn to pass pro at a different level, right? Like this is the best of the best here and stuff. And I don't worry about the pass pro. I think that he's going to get to that level. He has strength. He has quick feet. The arm length is going to be something that it will still, have to see. But I think that as long as he plays, and no matter how good he is, people are going to question that. People are going to say something about that until he's a 3 or 4 year guy that's been a 2-time Pro Bowl or all pro. Like that's going to be questioned no matter how good he is and how consistent he is he going to be a better guard? So yeah, I agree. Now the question here that's interesting is obviously with the Jared Wilson injury or whatever that's going to be, and Garrett Bradbury kind of playing a little bit disappointing, is Jared Wilson the starting center? Do you just start him there, or do you keep him at the left guard? Do you find like a Layden Robinson or a Cole Strange to play left guard? I think that there was good chemistry building between Jared Wilson and Will Campbell there, but do you just put him at his natural position at center and let him go right now and not have to learn guard and then go back to center? Because I really don't think that Garrett Bradbury has done anything to like blow us out of the water, say he's the starting center this year. So that's another question I have on this offensive line is like, do you just put Jared Wilson there week 1? That's where he plays.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Garrett Bradbury will be the starting center, at least for week 1. I think Jared Wilson stays at left guard just because he's been there more than he has been at center. And if he's already built that chemistry with Will Campbell, I don't think they're going to try to change it. It's just one of those things that's like, where do you want the issue to be? Would you rather have it be straight up the middle of the offensive line or like right next to your rookie left tackle? Like you have to pick and choose. And that's why, yes, like how we were talking about, like McDaniels can scheme around it, but can he scheme around and this is just me speaking hypothetically, like can he screen or scheme around a left tackle that can't pass block, center that can't pass block, a 35-year-old right tackle that might not be the fastest anymore? Like it can't just be like, oh, don't worry, he'll scheme around it. Like someone has to step up and you have to pick where that weakness is going to be, because this isn't like a Hall of Fame offensive line. So I just honestly think Jared Wilson, Will Campbell, they're going to hold down the left side, at least for their rookie years, in my opinion, unless like a random injury occurs and they think that Jared Wilson's better off playing center. But I truly think they're going to try to stick them there. Especially with Elliott Wolf in the building, I don't think he's going to, he has no choice of like who plays what position, but I do think that he has that experience from last year and from the past couple of years, seeing like, oh, let's put Michael Nwenu at right tackle. Let's put him back at right guard. Let's play him at left guard when, he's just coming right into the league. Like, they're going to want to develop guys at a certain position, give them as many reps there, and understand that spot of the offensive line. I don't think they're going to want to keep switching guys back and forth. So I think the starting offensive line is going to be the same that it's been throughout training camp, which is Will Campbell, Jared Wilson, Garrett Bradbury, Mike Nwenu, and then Morgan Moses or Marcus Bryant. You never know. We haven't talked about him, but yeah. I do think it's going to be the same that it's been.
Yeah, I just, to touch on both your points real quick, Chase, as a top 5 pick, the expectation is for him to be a Pro Bowl left tackle. Like, if you're taking a guy that high at tackle, you kind of have to have him be a Pro Bowler, because otherwise, like, it's just very high to take an offensive lineman if he's not going to end up working out and you don't feel like he has those aspirations to be that level player. And then it's also
who else would they have taken it for?
I'm just saying in general, like, using a top 5 pick.
And I get that, but when you're looking at the draft class, like, what else were they supposed to do?
Lose the last week of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay,
take Josh Simmons. There you go.
We're not going to talk about them beating the Bills the last week of the season, because we all know that should have happened. But
them losing is something we talked about a couple times.
We did. But there was everyone said that there were going to be movements all throughout the top 10. We had one, and it was freaking Jacksonville moving up. Like, so there were smoke screens everywhere. I don't think anyone wanted to trade up because they knew that the class was a little bit weaker. So I get that argument, but like, I also have to look at it and say, like, I don't think there's anyone else after the top 3 guys went that I would have wanted at 4. Oh, okay.
Ashton Genty, Tet, like,
I love Tet. I love Tet. But Patriots fans would have crucified
Simmons.
Tet as much as he did Will Campbell. And you can't say otherwise.
I'm just saying there's other players. Ashton Genty, if you feel he's going to be that elite guy, and then trade up for Simmons in the back end of the first, because Chiefs got him with one of the last picks in the first round,
32nd pick, 32nd or 31st,
31st or 32.
Yeah. So
32.
Like, and I knew that was going to happen, and he's going to be great because it's the Chiefs, and this is how people must have felt about the Patriots all those years, because it's just like, I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to fall into their lap. But I'm just saying, overall, the expectation is you're taking a guy in the top 5. He should be a high level at his position, especially if it's not a quarterback, or, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying, you really got to hope that Will Campbell turns out to be good, because that's a very high pick. And Vrabel already was part of a team that took a tackle early in the draft, and he ended up being a guard, and you just don't want to see that happen again, because we really need a franchise left tackle for Drake May. So and as far as Wilson playing center, a rookie at center and a rookie at left tackle is a little bit scary, but also 2 rookies paired next to each other on the left side. Like, if they keep having miscommunications and they're making rookie mistakes, both of them, and Drake May's blind side is just getting blown up all the time, like, that's not ideal either. So I don't know. I feel like I'm being a little too negative, because I do think this team should be solid. I don't want to be super negative, but I do have my concerns from what we've seen with some of the practices.
Yeah. And honestly, really quick, just like, if anyone follows me, like, they know that I'm very optimistic, and people get pissed off at me because of how optimistic I am. But just like Cole said, like, we have every right to be a little bit fearful about it. Like, Mike Reese put it out the other day on Sunday that the only other time that a rookie left tackle and left guard have started a season together was the Ravens in, like, I think it was like 2014 or something like that. It's the only other time that's been recorded. So it's like, it's not something that's just normal, and it happens all the time, and it's just gonna, like, we know it's gonna work out. Like, these are stuff that they're testing out, and they're still in a rebuild. I think that's like the main thing that people have, like, failed to understand, that they got all excited about Mike Vrabel. Like, Travion Henderson took the opening kickoff for a touchdown. Like, everyone thinks that we're back, like we're going to be in the playoffs. Like, they're still a rebuilding team. There's still a lot of holes to plug, and offensive line is like still an issue. It didn't just get fixed just because we drafted an elite star running back. You know what I mean? Like, they still have to fill that position group in and add to like that 4th overall pick.
Yeah, it's just frustrating because it feels like we've been a part of multiple rebuilds the past half decade. And I get how that sounds coming from a Pats fan, like, oh, boo-hoo, you guys haven't won a Super Bowl in like 7 years, like whatever. But
well, the rebuild got thrown off when we hired a DC as an OC and Mac Jones went downhill. Like, the rebuild because the rebuild was on the up when Mac Jones, his rookie year, and then Josh McDaniels leaves. They hire someone that does not know what he's doing, calling plays, destroys the confidence. The O-line was the worst there. And so, like, the rebuild was on, and then it just tanked again, and it got worse than where it was before. And so, yeah, I feel like it's a huge curveball that what we had, but now you're like, you got the right guy in charge. You got the right coordinators in charge. There's a lot of really good coaches on the staff around there. You feel like you spent money to fill in the pieces that you couldn't get with when we picked Cole Strange. That's actually not bad. And then you look at the last
clip of our reaction right here.
You look at the last 2 draft classes, take out this one, right? Which I think this class is going to be very good. But you look at getting a franchise cornerback and a franchise quarterback in the 1st round, Gonzalez and him. And then hopefully we have a franchise left tackle. And again, there's guys all throughout there. Travion Henderson. We have Jared Wilson. We have guys that we drafted throughout that we filled this roster with, Kyle Williams and stuff, that help elevate this, and we still have a ton of cap space going into next year. And so you're saving cap to sign these guys when they ball out, and you got to pay Drake May in a little bit, and that's going to be the biggest thing. We haven't even talked about that part of this. Is Drake May is the biggest key to this rebuild, and it's looking like he's been good so far. He's had his ups and downs. He's a sophomore and stuff. You don't expect him to be perfect, but for the most part, he's doing everything I want him to do. Like, he's been playing well. He can run the ball. He's thrown it in there. He's built good chemistry with the receivers. You always see him, like I said, with Diggs out there, and they're making plays. And so that's going to be the biggest thing. And I have high hopes for this team. I would love for them to be 9-8 and pushing for a wild card. But if this team won 7 games, that's overachieving from last year, because there's still a lot of people that don't think that they're going to be good this year. Like, there's people that don't think they're gonna be the worst team in the AFC East. There's a lot of people that are just saying that the Patriots will still not be good. And so I'm excited for this. It's hard because we scored 48 points. We had all this stuff, the best draft class, a really good offseason. Some people are legitimately out there like, this is a 13-win team that's probably going to, push for the AFC Championship game. Okay, pump the brakes a little. You got to have guys develop still, but no, it's going to be really fun, and continue to let them develop and win a bunch of games and stuff. But yeah, that was kind of a little bit off topic and stuff, but talking about where the expectations for this team are, because that's what Carlos got into, there is like this team has high expectations, but it's still at probably like the middle point of a true rebuild. We haven't even hit the peak of what we think the rebuild should be and could be with Drake May and stuff in there. We're still climbing. We're still getting better. There's going to be these growing pains.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel like I have been too negative. I still think we're going to win 8 to 10 games. Like, I feel much better this year than last year. I really do. But just talking about overall as a football team, there's still concerns for me. Like, if I had no concerns, I'd think they were going to win 13 games. You know what I mean? But obviously, there's concerns. We're just kind of touching on them, and we're kind of trying to put in perspective. If it goes wrong, this might be why. If all things go right, it's going to be Stephon Diggs looks like his old self. He's a 1,000-yard receiver. Kyle Williams works. Will Campbell's shutting down the left side. Like, there's a bunch of different possibilities. And I feel like I've been a little negative, but it's just, I have my concerns. I don't want to get hurt. I just want to watch a good football team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we all have concerns as Patriots fans. Like, my biggest concern is, what if Drake May doesn't progress? Now, I'm not saying he's not going to. And then my other one is like, what if the receivers, like we say every year, don't break out, and they actually don't? And so, yeah, there's plenty of concerns to be going around. I think every team at this point is dealing with concerns. Like, there's probably most teams going through that are hearing reports, because it's a lot easier to hear the negative stuff than it is the positive stuff in training camp. You consistently seem to hear those things, and you see really good clips and stuff. I see a ton of that stuff, but you also
dominating on the Chiefs.
Exactly. right? Like if you just look at that, you're gonna see Tyquan Thornton as an all-pro receiver. He's going for
We got to
1,600
trade for that
yards
guy.
this
That's
year.
the speed we're missing on the outside.
Oh my gosh. So for sure. But I want to talk about our partner at Underdog real quick, and then we're going to get to the defensive side of the ball. But for those of you that don't know, Underdog is running their Best Ball Mania 6 this year. They have $15 million in total prizes. If you win first place, you have a chance at $2 million. Okay. If you use our code PATSDRIVE, whether it's on the website or on the app, you can get your first deposit matched up to $1,000. You can jump in a Best Ball Mania 6. It's a season-long fantasy best ball, so whatever players score the most points that week are automatically put into your roster. There's no roster management, none of that stuff, no trades, one draft, and you're in
Carlos
it for the
is out.
season and stuff. So yeah, Carlos in our dynasty
No
league,
trades,
he got to be
he's
making
out.
trades.
It's a must. It's a must.
It is. So let's switch to the defensive side. Now there's still storylines here, right? Gonzalez being hurt, Carlton Davis and stuff. We talked about DJ James a little. Let's talk about the defensive line, because I think that's another one that worried me going into this year. And I think we added some guys. Obviously you're going to have Harold Landry on there, Braden Swinson, Kayvon Chasen, and stuff. But as the defensive line as a whole, Christian Barmore hopefully coming back healthy. Cole, you just kicked Carlos.
Sorry, I was trying to do that.
Okay. All right.
You come back. We want you back. How do you perceive the whole defensive line, defensive tackles, and defensive ends, Carlos? Because there's a lot of talent on that front seven, but I don't think we've seen it all put together yet. And there's been a lot of individual performances that have been good, but we haven't quite seen it all put together yet.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's probably the position. And it's not necessarily a group, but just a cumulative position group that I'm most excited about, because you have Christian Barmore, Milton Williams. They've been wrecking havoc, whether it's on the Vikings offensive line, the Commanders offensive line, the Patriots offensive line. Like, they're consistently making plays, even if it's just practice. Like, these guys are strong. They know what they're doing. They know how to get to the quarterback. Then you have Harold Landry, who's for some reason actually doing really good.
Turning back the clock.
I didn't have like that high of hopes for him. I knew he was going to be a good player. I just didn't have like crazy high hopes for him. He's been playing really well. And then the one that's shocking me the most, Kayvon Chasen looks like a superstar pass rusher for some reason during training camp. And it's been happening even against other teams. I think it was the Command. I don't think he practiced against the Commanders, but like against the Vikings, he had some nice pass rushes as well. He was getting held a lot during the one-on-ones. Like they couldn't really handle him. He's been giving Will Campbell a bunch of issues. Like every single time he's on the field. Yeah, he causes some sort of issue with Will Campbell. So he's honestly like my breakout guy that I think that he's going to make the biggest difference on that defensive line that nobody expects. But I think that's going to be the Patriots' strong suit. Kyrus Tonga's also had a great training camp. And he was supposed to be just like a run stuffer, but he's been getting sacks, pressures. He's been doing really good as well. So I do think their run defense is going to be a little bit worrisome, just because they don't have like the actual mass, if that makes sense. Like they don't have like really big dudes. Yeah, exactly. Like they don't have really big guys up front, but pass rushing wise and just like creating pressure and just disrupting the offense, I think they're going to do really well with that.
Yeah, I mean, that was something we talked about a lot coming into camp. Chase was Chasen, and he could be an under the radar guy that does make a big impact, and it looks like that trend is continuing. I loved him coming out of college. I wanted the pass to take him. He obviously hasn't lived up to the first round hype, but now he's starting to kind of put it together and kind of being like a situational Josh Uche type player, where he could come out and have a bunch of sacks and produce and then go get a contract somewhere else. Like that's still productive if he's showing up for a year and doing his thing. I think that's great. You need guys like that for different situations on third down and long and different passing downs. And hopefully he can kind of round out his game and be just a solid overall player. But yeah, that defensive line, it's hard not to be excited about it in general. Yeah. I think the run game obviously has kind of been a concern in general for the Pats over the past like on and off. Like some years it's been really great run defense, then all of a sudden like they're letting up 200 yards to an average running team. Yeah, like or Jonathan Taylor, that too. But I don't know, just Vrabel, the toughness that he he preaches. I think he'll if they're not playing good run defense, I think he's going to jump in there and try. Like, you know what I mean? That's the mentality Vrabel has. So I think you would hope a physical team like that is so a team that's going to be physical in the run game, and teams aren't going to want to run the ball that many times a game because they're going to be in their face and stuffing them at the line. So I agree. You don't have their typical run stuffing bodies on this team, but I'm hoping that just with kind of Vrabel's mentality with this team, I'm hoping that they play a more physical brand of football that translates in the run game.
Well, Kyrie's Tonga is the bigger, stouter guy that could step in and stop the run. He's not going to take a bunch of steps, but he's the guy that, he's almost 340 pounds. He's the one that's going to be the big, run stuffer and you have to get it. And I really look at the linebacker core, and I look at like Robert Spillane and, like you said, Jack Gibbons earlier. Like, I think that those guys are just different type of backers than what they've had the last couple of years. Like, they're still athletic, but they fly down here, they're going to make plays. And so I worry about the
Bentleys either. Like,
yes, they're more athletic, right? They can cover, do some of those things. Jelani Tavai is a little bit different in there and stuff, but Christian Ellis is long and can do so. I think that, like you said, it's going to be more of a mentality thing for Vrabel, but they do have the guys up there. It's just not the elite level guys. Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, they're known for their pass rushing ability. They're obviously great run defenders too. That's not what they're known for, and they're not going to be elite at it. But yeah, that's going to be the key, because I feel like the last couple of years with the Patriots defense, it's just been like, you knew teams were going to run it. What was it, San Francisco last year or a couple of years ago? I think they got like 5 yards a carry. I swear they just ran it down our throats every
I feel like
play.
I feel like the Dolphins both games too ran the crap out of the ball on us.
So bad. It's been so boring. So, and you're going to have to play some good running backs. Like you said, you're going to have Genty, early in the season and stuff. And
week 1.
So so you're going to have to call for the belt, or you're going to have, to answer that call right there early and stuff. So, but we already hit on corners and safeties and stuff a little bit. So let's move on. Let's talk about some joint practices real quick. A couple 15, 20 minutes. We'll wrap it up here. And we've hit on a lot of stuff today, but do you want to pull up Carlos's notes from today, Cole? We'll talk about Carlos. Like he said, did a great job. Guys, if you are from our YouTube, make sure you go follow Carlos on Twitter. I'm sure all of you guys are. Also, if you don't have the Sleeper app, you can join Carlos's channel there and kind of join in a Patriots discussion. Right, Carlos? I'm saying that right? I don't want to butcher it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Just it's the same exact thing as Twitter. Just better chance of me seeing your message or interacting with you guys. You guys can post on the feed too. So it's just Patriots centric community rather than just all of Twitter.
Yeah. And then if you guys are over on Twitter watching on Carlos's, you guys can hop over. We'd love for you guys to subscribe. We'll be going live with Carlos a lot more. And we'll be getting way more into live streams and stuff as the season goes on, pregame, postgame shows. So you guys want Patriots content. Obviously you're following Carlos, so I know you're Patriots fans or you're interested in it. You can come over to YouTube for that also. But let's start, let's start with you, Carlos, since these are your notes. What are some of the biggest takeaways from joint practices that you had, whether it was yesterday because they had a way better day yesterday, or whether it was today where they struggled?
Honestly, I honestly think yesterday's practice is more, and not just because it was the better practice for them, but I just think there were more takeaways from that practice, just because like the Patriots went into Minnesota without a real like game plan, like really understanding what the Vikings are going to do. And they performed like the much better team, and they shut down JJ McCarthy for the most part. Drake May had a great practice. Like everything really clicked for them. And then the second day, when there was like film on both sides, and like maybe not necessarily film now that I think about it, but just like that they had a better understanding of what each side was going to do. Now the Vikings bounced back and they performed better. That's not going to happen in a real NFL game. Like you're not going to play one team on Sunday and then play them again Monday. Like, I just really think that what happened on yesterday's practice is much more telling, because that's going into the game, not really knowing what to expect and outperforming the other roster. So guys like Drake May in particular, like he had a great practice, in my opinion. There were obviously ups and downs, but I think it had more so to do with the offensive line or just with like receivers dropping the ball. But Drake has been dealing the past couple joint practices, and I think it's just going to carry on over. So I would take today's with a little bit of a grain of salt, but like it was still a good day for Drake May in particular. So that's like my main takeaway, that Drake May and the defense as a whole perform like they should be performing.
Yeah, I feel like I remember from your notes yesterday as well that it's kind of been similar things of Drake May has had some great throws when he has time. Like when the offensive line is doing their job, Drake May is dealing. And I know there's been a couple throws here and there that have been tipped up in the air and picked or near interceptions, but there's also been a couple plays where I'm sure everybody's seen the highlight of Drake May rolling out when he got pressure from the left side and throwing a perfect touch pass down towards the sideline. So there's a lot of flashes, and we just got to see him put it together for the season of less spray passes, less turnovers, like hold on to the football in the pocket. Don't be fumbling in the pocket and turning the ball over with some bad accuracy. He's got so much talent, and we just got to see him put it all together for a season. And that's what separates good from great or bad from good. Like it's the little things. It's the turning the ball over and just how consistent can you be as a passer.
Yeah.
And that's Josh Allen is the ceiling everybody talks about. He was awful to start, and now he's a consistent quarterback who makes a ton of big plays and has a crazy arm, and he's great. Like that's what you're hoping Drake May can turn into, a guy like that.
And another thing that just keeps on popping up every time you watch a practice or in joint practices is Travion Henderson's ability to affect the game, not only in the run, but in the pass. Right there, that one that you just had right there, Travion Henderson, 2 receptions over the middle during 7-on-7, one being a touchdown, outran the defense. You saw the video. It was a 70-yard touchdown, that he catches and stuff in the practice. What was that, yesterday too? And so he's going to be making plays. He is a playmaker no matter where he is and how they're getting him the football. It's a weapon. It's something that the Patriots it's going to be fun to be able to watch him, because I think when everyone's like, oh man, the passing game's been so bad the last couple of years. Yeah, it's partially because the receivers have been bad, but Hunter Henry's a reliable target, and you're going to have the opportunity to have Travion Henderson now affect the passing game. So yeah, you don't have to have all these elite wide receivers. You would like to have a Jamar Chase or a Justin Jefferson, but now you have guys that can affect the game out of the backfield that you've seen, like Jahmyr Gibbs, like Bijan Robinson, guys like that can literally affect the game. And those are some of the most valuable players when they, are utilized right and stuff. So his ability to do that is just always fun to watch. And it's always, it's lightning in a bottle when he's on the field.
Dobbs with a much better day, it looks like, today than yesterday with the multiple pick sixes yesterday, as Carlos mentioned on his Twitter. Anything I do want to talk a little bit more about the corner situation, just where Gonzalez is still injured and not participating, and Carlton Davis is still kind of like here and there. I don't know if that's something you guys want to touch on, or you guys want to finish touching on today first.
No, we can talk about that. Yeah, go ahead, Carlos.
Yeah, honestly, like Carlton Davis, he like today, as you can see, like the first bullet point, like he allowed a touchdown, and he had allowed some receptions over the middle as well. He hasn't been like, obviously he hasn't practiced much during training camp. Like he's still getting the groove of everything. I'm not too worried about him. He just hasn't been playing up to his contract, if you want to use 3 practices against him. But at the same time, it's just kind of like you have to hold him to a higher standard because of how much money they paid him and all the expectations that are put on him. But he did tell reporters, I think it was yesterday, that like if there was a game today, he could play. Like there's no doubt about him being healthy. So if he's healthy, he should be playing up to the standard that he is supposed to be playing at. So it's just one of those things that's like, it's a little bit it's something to keep an eye on. But at the same time, like I said, it's only his second or third full like live practice. So he's going to get back into it, in my opinion.
But that's what's concerning. If he is healthy, why is this only his second or third? You know what I mean? If he's struggling, you need to get the reps in before the season to be ready to go. So like Steven here says, I'm not worried about them by the time the season comes around. Even Gonzalez last year, everybody was like, oh, is Gonzalez not who we think he is? Like he's struggling in training camp, and then he comes out and just shuts down everybody. It's like he's a gamer. He's gonna go do that. I do think that Davis is gonna be okay. I'm excited to get Gonzalez back. But it's just something to keep an eye on. It's just you want to see these guys getting reps and performing well and staying healthy, and we just haven't really seen that from that room. It's been a lot of the second, third string guys because those top 2 dogs have not been on the field.
Yeah.
Well, and Carlton Davis is is this his 8th season? I think he's played 7 seasons. He's missed a couple games here and there. I would be surprised if they don't ramp him up here after preseason game 2. Maybe play him a little bit more in preseason game 3 and stuff, but start ramping him up because he's got to get the dust off, obviously not having practiced. But it's not so much as like a rep count thing for me. I think he understands the defense. He's a vet. He's taking a lot of reps. Get him 100% healthy, especially with Christian Gonzalez, because with Christian Gonzalez being hurt right now, you definitely don't want something to happen to Carlton Davis. Like if something were to happen to him, that would be even more scary. And I know Christian Gonzalez's week 1 availability probably isn't in question as of right now. And so, but just be safe with those 2 because those 2 can be a top 3 cornerback duo in the league. And you got to keep them healthy because if you can lock down on the outsides with those 2 and get home with 4, you can do a lot of good things on defense and strap down a lot of good quarterbacks. So just keeping him healthy. I would like to see him get ramped up here a little bit more just so, hey, week 1, it's not like, oh, I have to get the rust off. He has a bad week 1 or, it takes him a couple weeks. But, yeah, I'm also not worried about that one either.
Yeah, and don't forget Alex Austin too. I think that whichever, obviously Gonzo, you don't want him ever missing games, but like if Carlton Davis had to miss a game, I'm not too worried because I think Alex Austin he would start on many NFL teams in my opinion.
Yeah.
And he's their 3rd corner, 4th corner. So I'm not too worried about Carlton Davis maybe having a slow start.
Carlos, have you heard anything about play time? Jason and I were talking about this the other day. Like in preseason, obviously they played like a couple drives with some of the starters. Do you know what their plan is for how they're going to lay out Saturday's game against the Vikings and then the week after that, how they're going to kind of manage play time?
Nobody's asked Vrabel about that at any of his press conferences this week, at least. Like if you just go off of what he said last week, the healthy guys will play, but then there were some guys that didn't end up playing that were healthy. So
yeah,
I don't know where they're going with it, but no one's asked him this week about it.
Okay. Yeah. I just remember Bill kind of always had his layout of how he wanted to do it. And then this game, they're going to play for the whole half. Like I haven't watched Titans preseason games, so I don't know how Vrabel typically does it. So I was just curious if you had anything on that.
I know JJ McCarthy's not playing at all. So I don't know if it's going to be again them playing backups or if it's just JJ McCarthy that's not going to play, but it might be a repeat of what happened against the Commanders. I don't know.
I feel like every team that we go against in preseason never has any starters. Like I don't remember the last time that we've gone up against a team that's playing starters right off the bat. Like, so maybe that's something that the league doesn't do very often. Maybe it was just a Bill thing where they kind of get a full half or whatever. But I definitely haven't seen many snaps against the Patriots from starters. So I was just curious.
Yeah.
So, but let's I don't know if you guys in the chat have anything else, whether you're on Carlos's Twitter page or whether you're on the YouTube channel. If you guys want to drop them in real quick, we'll kind of start wrapping it up here. So if you want to ask any quick final questions, but Carlos, what's one thing that you're looking forward to going into preseason game 2? It's Saturday against the Vikings, a certain player, certain storyline. What are you kind of looking for now that we have information on, a one preseason game and then a couple joint practices with other teams? What are you looking for?
Yeah, honestly, kind of going off of what I just said, I'm really, really hoping that the Vikings do play their starters, at least their defensive starters, so we can see Will Campbell once again. I really want to see him go up against better pass rushers, starting pass rushers. And that's the main thing I'm looking at, just to see if the offensive line can bounce back when it's like a live situation that you do not want Drake May to get hit. It's not just like he's wearing a red non-contact jersey. Like he can get hurt if they let him get hit. So I really hope that the Vikings play their starters so then we could see a Will Campbell in live action.
I'm going to say Efton Chisholm's first 100-yard game. That's what I'm looking forward to.
It could happen.
I'm just saying. Just saying. That's what I'm looking forward to.
You assume he's
so much.
You assume he's not going to be one that's going to be very limited because he's still pushing for a spot. Like as good as he's played and as much as I think has secured a spot, I think that he still has to play and prove some of those things.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of the same with you, Carl or Cole. I'm just so invested in this receiver room, right? Like I assume Diggs isn't going to do much, probably not anything, right? He won't be out there. So can Kyle Williams get going? Because he showed some really good releases. Can they find him and get him the ball? What does Efton Chisholm continue to do? Does Javon Baker continue to make play, or Kayshon Boutte and Baker make plays and stuff? DeMario Douglas. The receiver has me really invested right now. And then the other one would be obviously without Carlton Davis, most likely, and obviously Christian Gonzalez, continuing to see who the corners are. Does DJ James continue to step up? Alex Austin, we know who he's going to be. Does Marcus Jones have a little bit of a bounce back? So those are the two kind of positions I'm really excited to continue to watch, because I think those are the ones that have probably the biggest position battle. Offensive line has a little bit of one going on there too. Probably the back half of guys, like who's going to make it as the 8th and 9th guy or the 9th and 10th guy.
The swing tackles.
How many? Right, Marcus Bryant, right? Or is it Demontre Jacobs or whoever it is?
Vidarian Lowe might play. So we might get a good glimpse at the man.
I will
turn that game off if he walks in the game. I'm turning it off. I can't watch another snap of him.
Oh boy. Yeah, I think we saw enough snaps of him. But just reading off Carlos's notes, Efton Chisholm was consistently getting open during 11-on-11s, which resulted in 2 touchdowns delivered by QB Josh Dobbs. So 100 yards. There we go. We're going to see it. Just to answer Steven's question here real quick. When do you guys normally go live on YouTube? Once the season starts, we're typically doing a preview show during the week at some point. Once we kind of figure out schedules, and then typically after the game, we'll go live that same night, or if it's like a late game, we'll go live at some point, probably the next day. So stay tuned for that. Turn on notifications if you want to get notified every time we go live.
When am I getting a Vidarian Lowe jersey? If you buy me one, I'll give you my address. You can ship it to me and I'll wear it live, but I'm not going to waste my money on that. But I will wear one. Just kidding. So whose jersey? I mean, I got Christian Gonzalez and Drake May are the two I have right now. Whose jersey are you going to get? Carlos, you got to buy one jersey right now. You don't currently have. You have Gonzalez hanging up. Who are you buying?
Travion Henderson.
Okay.
You have to pick the best possible player and the one you think is going to be on the team the longest. So I'd go Travion.
Okay. Cole?
Every player's jersey that I buy is gone the next year. So
don't buy anyone's.
My current jersey that I've been rocking is the number 10 Mac Jones jersey that I pretend is Drake May.
That's fair.
Did you put duct tape on it like I did?
No, I got to look into the places that take the nameplate and redo it, because it's like 200 something bucks for one of the Stitz jerseys, and it's a nice jersey. I just so it would be either Drake May or Gonzo. I want a Gonzo jersey pretty bad, but probably one of those two. The only thing with rookies I get nervous about is the numbers, because a lot of the times they switch. Like Gonzalez was 6 to start.
Yeah.
Was that just 6 to start?
No, he was actually number 19 during the preseason,
and then went to
switched to 6. Yeah,
then switched to 6, and then now he's 0. Pop Douglas was 81. Now he's 3. Yeah. So I get worried about buying rookie jerseys, not only because of that, but if you bought a Jalen Polk jersey last year, like Jace probably has 10 of them in his closet because he loves Jalen Polk.
Get out of here.
One rookie card right next to it.
Yeah, I know. I'm buying it, and he's gonna ball out. It's gonna be
I feel like you and Jalen Polk like live together or something. The way you defend this guy, it's like is he in the room with you? Like, if you need help, you can tell us.
I'm as frustrated as a lot of Patriots fans, but I was baffled when they took Tyquan Thornton. Like, I thought that was a horrible pick. Who else did they take? N'Keal Harry. I mean, I followed Arizona State, so like I liked Arizona State, but I definitely got why he sucked. Jalen Polk, I just thought his game was so transferable in the NFL. Like he had strong hands, he was a good route runner. I'm like, and this guy can just do a lot in the NFL, and it's just been heartbreak after heartbreak. And I guess my hard part is I didn't want to give up on him, but you might have to, because if you're a bad team like you were last year and you don't add a Stephon Diggs and stuff, there's probably a spot for him. But the Patriots did a good job at drafting guys better than him and signing guys that could replace him. And so can't be mad at that. I'm not mad at it.
Who gets the number 1 once he is no longer on the team? Who takes it?
Diggs.
I think he's gonna stay with 8. I think he's gonna stick with 8. I think
Who would go to 1?
Taekwon when he gets back.
Get out of here.
Kyle
Will
Williams.
Campbell?
Yeah, well, he's 18 right
Wait,
now.
who's 2 right now?
Javon Bake. No. He's
No.
number 6.
Yeah, he's 6.
Who is number 2?
We should definitely know this.
I think it's Harold Landry.
It
I think
is.
he's like number
It
2.
is.
Okay.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
All right. I was gonna say, is there a possibility number 2 would? Because Kyle Williams was 2 in college. So I'm like, is there a possibility number 2 would go to 1?
I could see him taking 1, but I think
That'd be
a
kind of
veteran's gonna want to take it.
Yeah,
Probably.
someone. But if I had to get a jersey right now, I kind of agree with you guys. I have a hard time. I've been trying to get a Cubs jersey, but they haven't had anyone good. I want to get a Tucker one, but
They
I don't
make
know if
those?
they'll re-sign him. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. So you probably got a Rafael Devers one, and you're bad luck. He got traded, right? That happened.
That was a low
Look
blow.
at him. Look at him.
You know what's so sad? That's exactly what happened. I bought his jersey. Like a few months after the extension. I was like, he's going to be here for a decade. That's the
Yeah,
only
because he
Red
signed
Sox
what, a
current jersey
12-year
I have.
deal?
10, 11.
13, 10, yeah. And
Yeah.
so I do need to get a PCA one, but going off of that rule there, like that's why I got a Gonzo and a Drake May one. So if I had to get one, Travion Henderson's a good pick, but I mean, I think a Diggs one would be cool. You just don't know if he's going to fill the full 3 years. Like I don't know. Like, is he going to be one and done? Is he going to be, so Diggs would be cool too, but I don't know.
I'm telling
we'll
you
have to
guys, this is a genuine concern of mine. I bought a brand new Tom Brady jersey a couple weeks before the Titans playoff game, and it was all over after that. Like, I'm like, it's Tom Brady. He's never going to leave. Like, it's Brady. Like, he's a Pat forever. I am
Cole
solely
jinxed
responsible
us.
for Tom Brady leaving the Patriots. So I don't know.
Just stop buying jerseys.
Like,
We don't want just don't buy a good player's jersey. We don't want them to leave.
Jacoby Myers was another one, and he left the next year in free agency. Ramondre Stevenson, I think, is one of the only active players, but now he sucks after I got the jersey. So what's really worse, him being gone or sucking here? So I don't know. It's tough. I'm just scared, guys. I just wanted to let you know that I don't know if I should get another jersey for a while.
So anyone we don't want on the team, you should buy a jersey of.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So if you want somebody to get
So-
cut, send me a jersey, and I will put that thing on, and they will be gone next week.
It's a magic.
Yeah.
That's funny. So
yeah,
cool. Well, you got anything else, guys? I mean, I appreciate we had a ton of people in. Obviously, a lot of you guys from Carlos's Twitter. So again, if you guys are over there, you want to stay up to date with us, hop on over, subscribe, and all you guys that aren't already following Carlos on Twitter,
what are you doing
jump over there? Yeah, you're doing it wrong because he's got all the information. We literally just do a live stream off of his information, and we invite him
all the
on.
notes up.
We invite him on here so that he'll shut up about our dynasty trades and not bug us about them.
Yeah, where's your
Instead of
trade me
texting
Jamar
him,
Chase sign?
Oh yeah, I had it. Yeah, I still have it open. Don't worry.
All right, 4
But-
first-round picks and Justin Jefferson. You got yourself a deal.
Damn.
We'll talk.
We'll talk. So no, we appreciate it, guys. Super exciting times right here. Preseason game 2 on Saturday, and then one more, and then we're in the regular season. It's gonna be coming up here right around the corner. So Carlos, anything else to say? Appreciate you coming on, man. It was awesome.
Nothing much. Just join the Sleeper community if you guys haven't. If you download Sleeper, use Los Talks. You get a special reward. I won't tell you what it is, but you get a special reward. But besides that, yeah, just follow me on Twitter, follow these guys on Instagram, subscribe to them on YouTube, put their post notifications on. I'll definitely be joining other live streams as well in the future. They might join one of mine in the future. So like you'll be seeing a lot of us 3 at some point in the season. But yeah, besides that, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, it was a fun first official crossover episode here.
Yeah.
With us. We've had you on obviously before, but yeah, no, that was fun. Thank you. Thanks for coming on. And yeah, we do got to do this more. It's always fun having you on. So very, very insightful as always. But yeah, anything else, Chase?
No, I think we're good. No, I am not getting a Verdarian Lowe jersey. Sorry.
Give it to Cole so he's off the team.
Yes.
There you go. I'll buy one and send it to Cole.
Also, the
There you
comments
go.
reminded me Cam Newton as well. That was another one. So
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cole's really got bad luck.
oh, Jason Tatum too. I got him and then he tore his Achilles. So
Oh
yeah,
my
it's
heck,
been bad.
no.
It's been really
That
bad
is
actually.
so bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not going good.
Yeah. I get the hate, I get the worriness of jerseys because you spend so much money on them and stuff, and you're like, you want them to be there, and it's like, oh, I don't want them just for 1 or 2 years. I want it for like 5 or 6.
Yeah, spending 150, 250 bucks on a jersey, like I want that guy to be around, and that hasn't been the case. Hasn't been the case for me when I get jerseys. It always goes poorly.
Okay, well, don't get a Drake May one then. We need him to be good.
I might not. I'm gonna rock the Mac Jones one for now and pretend it's Drake May, and
there you
that
go.
will officially clear the curse of
It'll be
won't
reverse psychology because he was bad, but it will be good for Drake.
Yeah, Mac Jones will be bad forever, but Drake May hopefully will be all right. So
hopefully
that's what counts.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it, guys. Again, always tuning in. Hopefully we see you guys in the next live stream we do. As always, go Patriots, and we will talk to you guys next time.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Patriots Drive podcast. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with all things New England Patriots. Make sure you tune in to the next episode and check out patriotsdrive.com for more great content.
We're on to Cincinnati.